The war was over, or at least that was what the galaxy believed. The treaties had been signed, the fleets had returned home, and the burned worlds were left to heal in silence. But silence in war is never truly empty. Out in the far edge of known space, where the great battles had once raged, the remains of destroyed ships still floated like the bones of giants. Twisted metal drifted slowly in the blackness, each wreck telling a story of fire, death, and desperation. The galaxy had moved on, but the battlefield had not. It waited, cold and patient, for someone to return. Most thought no one ever would. Why come back to a graveyard of machines and lost soldiers? Yet strange signals began to echo from this sector. Faint and irregular at first. The Alliance scanners dismissed them as background noise from decaying war debris. But one old commander, Admiral Cairn, knew better. He had fought in these sectors. He had seen every kind of signal a ship could send, and this was no echo. It had a pattern, a heartbeat, almost alive. More disturbing was the fact that the rhythm matched an ancient record in the Alliance database, a human distress signal. The problem was, humans had never been part of the war. Cairn brought his findings to the High Council. The chamber was filled with alien delegates. Tall, short, scaled, and feathered, all too eager to laugh at the old soldier's phantom ghosts. But Cairn's voice did not shake. "I tell you," he said, "someone is out there, someone who does not want to be found. And they are human." The council dismissed him, ordering him to retire and let the new era of peace continue, but Cairn could not let it go. Meanwhile, far beyond their sight, a black ship slid silently through the debris field. It had no running lights, no identification code, and no visible weapons. Yet its movement was too smooth for a salvage craft. It stopped near a shattered dreadnought, scanning its remains. Then extended mechanical arms to strip away its armor plates. It collected what it needed with precision, leaving the rest to drift inside. Human voices spoke in low tones. "Mark it, tag it, and move to the next wreck," a calm female voice ordered. There was no chatter, no wasted words, only the sound of work. A small Alliance scout ship entered the sector on routine patrol. Its crew was young and inexperienced. When they saw the black vessel, they assumed it was an illegal scavenger. They sent a standard broadcast warning, ordering the unknown ship to identify itself. For a moment, there was no reply. Then, without warning, the voice of a human male filled their comms. "Stay away from this sector," he said. "It's ours." Now, the voice was calm, but carried a weight that made the young crew shiver. Before they could respond, the black ship vanished into the darkness. Its engines leaving no trace, the scout ship returned with their report, but no one in the Alliance believed them. Stories of humans were rare, and most thought the species was isolated somewhere deep in the uncharted zones. The idea that they were here, picking through the remains of the galaxy's largest war, was almost laughable, almost back on his home station. Admiral Cairn stared at the report in silence. The voice recording from the scout ship played in his quarters again and again. To others, it was just a warning. To Cairn, it was a message. Humans were not scavenging for scraps. They were preparing for something. He could feel it in the way the voice had claimed the sector, as if the war was not over for them, as if it had only just begun. In the darkness of the battlefield, more black ships began to arrive. They moved like shadows. Working in perfect coordination, each one took parts from wrecks, weapons, and energy cores. They worked quickly, never leaving anything valuable behind, and when they left, the wrecks looked as if they had been picked clean by some vast unseen predator. The stars in this sector seemed to grow dimmer. Even the drifting debris felt different now, as if it knew that predators had returned to the hunting grounds, and far away in the safe heart of the galaxy, the politicians still toasted to peace. They had no idea that peace was ending. They had no idea that humanity had entered the battlefield. And when humanity enters a war, nothing stays the same. The black ships returned again, and this time the Alliance could not ignore them. Patrol routes began to show missing wrecks, vanished cargo pods, and stripped battleship hulls, whatever. These strangers were doing it fast, and they were taking everything of value from the battlefield. A meeting was called in the High Command. Admiral Cairn was there. leaning against the table with the calm of a man who had already warned them. Across from him, Commander Veth, a sharp-tongued reptilian officer, slammed her clawed hand down. "This is theft," she hissed. "We won this war. That wreckage belongs to the Alliance," Karen simply replied. "You didn't win anything if someone else is already taking the spoils." The Council authorized a formal mission to identify the unknowns. A fast response ship, the Silver Fang, was sent to intercept. Its crew was mixed alien pilots, engineers and a translator with over 30 known languages, they thought. They were ready, they were not. 3 days into the mission, the Silver Fang entered the disputed sector almost at once. They spotted the intruders, 3 black ships moving in formation through the debris. Their movement was unlike anything the crew had ever seen. No hesitation, no course corrections. As if every meter of space was already mapped in their minds, the Alliance ship hailed them. "This is the Silver Fang. Operating under Alliance authority, identify yourselves immediately." There was silence. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The translator repeated the message in different languages, still no answer. Finally, the main screen flickered to life. A human face appeared. He was pale-skinned, wearing a dark uniform with no symbols. His eyes steady and unreadable. "This sector is restricted," he said in perfect Alliance standard. "You're trespassing," the Silver Fang's captain, a tall insectoid named Drill, bristled at the tone. "This is Alliance territory. You have no right to claim it." The human leaned closer to the screen, his voice dropping. "Alliance territory ended the moment your war ended. We don't recognize your claim." Before Drill could respond, the black ships turned away. No threat, no fight, just a silent departure. The crew felt humiliated, but something about the humans' calm, unshaken manner made them hesitate to pursue. They followed at a distance, keeping their sensors locked on the ships. What they saw next chilled them. The black ships approached a massive derelict, an alien dreadnought lost in the final battle. Instead of simply stripping parts, they seemed to know exactly where the ship's hidden core was stored. In minutes, the human crews extracted it and vanished into the shadows. No wasted time, no trial and error, as if they had studied every wreck before even arriving. The Silver Fang transmitted everything back to Alliance Command. High Command watched the footage in silence. These humans were not scavengers. They were strategic, disciplined, and frighteningly efficient. And their technology, from the way their ships moved to the tools they used, was decades ahead of anything the Alliance had. But the most alarming detail was the insignia briefly visible on one crew member's arm, a simple emblem of a clenched fist over a burning star. No one in the Alliance recognized it, not yet. Admiral Karen studied the footage privately, pausing on the human's face. There was no arrogance, no wild aggression, only certainty. It was the look of someone who knew exactly what they were building, and Karen had a feeling it wasn't going to be small. He sent a personal warning to the Council. "If you think they're just salvaging, you're wrong. They're preparing for the next war, and it will not be one you control, out in the void." The humans continued their work. The crews moved like clockwork, never speaking more than necessary. Their ships communicated silently, exchanging bursts of encrypted data faster than any Alliance system could track. Every derelict they touched was left in perfect ruin. Every valuable piece taken, and slowly, almost invisibly. The Black Fleet was growing. The Silver Fang returned home with their report. But the political debate raged on. Some wanted to confront humanity immediately, to demand their withdrawal. Others argued that provoking an unknown force could reignite a war the galaxy could not survive. And somewhere in between sat the quiet fear that humanity didn't care about the Alliance's debates at all. They had their own plans, and nothing would stop them. The Alliance archives were deep, old, and rarely visited. Most believed the war records were just relics of a darker time, useful only for historians. But after the encounters with the black human ships, certain files began to surface again. Admiral Karen spent long nights digging through these dusty records, his eyes scanning through battles, losses, and unmarked incidents. It was there that he found something unsettling. During the Great War, before the final peace treaties, there had been rumors, whispers among soldiers about an unseen force taking wreckage from both sides. At the time, no one cared. The war was chaos. And scavengers were common, but the pattern was the same as now. Precise strikes, clean removals, nothing wasted. Karen realized with a cold weight in his chest that the humans had been here before, watching the war long before it ended. They had not joined either side. They had waited, and they had learned, across the galaxy, the political wounds of the war still ran deep. Entire planets had been destroyed. Families shattered and grudges carved into history. Peace had come, but it was thin, fragile. A layer of glass over boiling water, the humans' sudden arrival was like a hammer tapping at that glass. Old enemies began looking at each other with suspicion again. If humans were taking weapons from the battlefield, who would they give them to? Or worse, would they keep them all for themselves? On the mining world of Varric 7, old veterans gathered in dim bars, speaking in low voices about the return of the Ghost Fleet. In the wealthy trade cities, merchants whispered of secret human buyers, offering triple the market rate for rare alloys and war tech. And on the far edges of explored space, small, defense fleets began quietly fortifying their borders. No one admitted it openly, but everyone was preparing for something. The High Council tried to control the information. They downplayed the reports, told the public that the humans were harmless salvagers. But the footage from the Silver Fang leaked. It spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Citizens saw the black ships moving with deadly precision, heard the calm human voice warning an Alliance patrol to leave. Fear took root, and with fear came blame. The Drakari, a reptilian warrior race who had lost a third of their population in the war, accused the Alliance of hiding human involvement. From the start, the Solari, who had been on the opposite side of the war, believed the Drakari were secretly making a deal with the humans. Trade agreements began to crumble. Joint fleets stopped their patrols, and long-held alliances started to fracture. It was exactly the kind of chaos the humans could exploit if they wanted to. Karen watched it all unfold with a sinking heart. He knew that humans were dangerous not just because of their weapons. They were dangerous because they understood how wars really ended, not with treaties, but with power shifting quietly, and right now, power was shifting toward them. Out in the debris fields, the human fleet was no longer just scavenging. They were assembling something. Small ships carried massive armored plates to a hidden location beyond the wreckage. Energy cores were loaded into deep cargo bays, and from time to time, Karen's hidden sensors caught glimpses of something bigger, a massive hull under construction. Too large for any normal warship. One night, as Karen studied a new set of scans, his comms-link lit up with a private channel. The voice was deep, calm, and unmistakably human. "You've been watching us," the voice said. Karen didn't deny it. "You're building a weapon," he replied. There was a short silence. Then the human answered, "We're building an..." Ending, the channel closed, leaving Karen staring at the dark screen. He knew that whatever the humans were planning would not just reopen old wounds, it would tear them wide. The galaxy thought the war was over, but as human ships moved, like shadows through the graveyards of battle, the truth was becoming clear. The war had only been sleeping, and now humanity was waking it up. It began in the shadowed trade lanes of the outer colonies. For weeks, small convoys had been vanishing without a trace. Merchants whispered about pirates returning. Bolder than ever, the Alliance sent patrols. But the pirates struck fast and disappeared, leaving nothing but drifting cargo containers and dead ships. The war was supposed to be over. Yet for these colonies, survival still depended on who could defend them. Then came the day of the attack on the convoy from Varric 7. It carried rare alloys, weapons-grade metals, and food shipments meant for 3 starving worlds. The pirate fleet moved in with 10 ships, confident that no one could stop them this far from the core systems. The convoy's escorts were outnumbered and already losing. On the bridge of the lead freighter, the captain's voice shook as he sent out a desperate wideband distress call. "Mayday, Mayday, we are under attack. Request immediate assistance." No one expected a response. But in the black between the stars, something moved. A single black warship appeared on the pirate sensors. It did not announce itself. It did not even appear on Alliance registries. It simply accelerated toward the battle. Silent and precise, The pirates laughed at first. 1 ship against 10 was suicide. They moved to intercept, spreading out to trap it. But the black warship didn't slow. Its hull seemed to swallow light, its shape sharp and predatory. The first volley of pirate fire streaked toward it. The black ship shifted, almost gliding between the blasts, then returned fire with a single blinding shot. 1 pirate ship vanished in a silent flash. Ripped apart in an instant, the convoy escorts watched in disbelief as the black ship tore through. The pirate formation. Its weapons made no sound, only the deep vibration that rattled through the hulls of nearby ships. Every shot hit exactly where it needed to, disabling engines, rupturing reactors, ending the fight before it could drag on. Within minutes. Half the pirate fleet was gone, the rest scattering in panic. The black ship did not pursue. Instead, it moved between the convoy and the fleeing pirates, scanning for any remaining threat. When the comms finally opened, the voice that spoke was human, calm and controlled. "Convoy from Varric 7. You are safe now." The freighter captain stammered his thanks, asking for the name of their savior. The human replied simply, "No name, no debt, just remember. This sector belongs to us now." Then the black ship turned and disappeared into the void. News of the event spread faster than the Alliance could contain it. Footage from convoy security cameras showed the black warship moving like a shadow, its weapons ending the fight in moments. The galaxy was stunned. Pirates who had been terrorizing the colonies for months had been wiped out in less than 5 minutes, and the Alliance had nothing to do with it, for many in the outer colonies. The humans became something more than a mystery. They became protectors. Merchants began whispering that traveling through human-claimed sectors was safer than anywhere else. Some even started routing their ships through those areas on purpose. The Alliance leadership, however, saw it differently to them. This was a warning. The humans had shown they could destroy fleets effortlessly, and they had done it without asking permission. In the High Council chamber, arguments raged. This was an act of war. Commander Veth snarled. They destroyed ships without authorization. But others pointed out that the pirates had been a threat for months, and the Alliance had failed to stop them. The humans did what we could not. An older delegate admitted. Admiral Karen sat quietly, his mind turning over the implications. He knew this was not about pirates. This was a message the humans had just demonstrated that they could strike anywhere, anytime, and no one could stop them. Out in the debris fields, the Black Fleet continued to grow, but now they were not only salvaging, they were testing their weapons in real combat. The convoy rescue had not been an accident. It was a calculated move. A first strike designed to show both friend and foe what humanity was capable of. And the message was clear. Humanity did not need numbers. Humanity did not need permission. Humanity could change the balance of power with a single ship. The galaxy had not seen unity since the end of the Great War. For years, the different powers had watched each other with suspicion, keeping their fleets close and their weapons ready. The wounds of old battles were still fresh, and no one had any reason to trust their former enemies, but the humans had changed everything. The rescue of the Varric 7 convoy had spread like fire through the trade networks. For the outer colonies, it was a miracle. For the core worlds, it was a warning. If a single human warship could destroy 10 pirate ships in minutes, what could a fleet of them do? The question kept leaders awake at night. It didn't matter whether they hated each other. They now feared the same thing. On the volcanic homeworld of the Drakari, war councils gathered in the deep stone chambers. They had fought the Solari for generations, but now their maps showed human sightings dangerously close to both their borders across the galaxy. In the crystal cities of the Solari, the high priest generals were thinking the same. Neither trusted the other, but they both agreed humanity had to be stopped before it grew too strong. Through secret channels, meetings began. At first, the talks were filled with insults and old grudges. The Drakari accused the Solari of starting the last war. The Solari accused the Drakari of ending it with slaughter. But every time the arguments flared, someone would mention the black ships. The room would fall silent. Even ancient hatred was no match for the kind of fear humanity was planting. Meanwhile, the humans kept working. The Black Fleet was no longer just scavenging and escorting convoys. Now they were testing their range, striking at pirate nests, raider hideouts, and abandoned outposts. Each time they acted, they left no survivors and no clear trail. The survivor stories all said the same thing. The humans came without warning, ended the fight, and left as fast as they arrived. The Drakkari and Solari agreed to form a joint fleet, something that had not happened in over a century. It was the first step in a dangerous alliance. Soon, other powers joined in, reluctant but unwilling to be left defenseless. By the time the agreement was signed, 6 former enemy factions had committed ships to a single massive fleet. Its purpose was simple: confront the humans and force them to back down. Admiral Cairn heard of the plan through his old intelligence network. He knew it was a mistake. The humans had already proven that conventional fleets meant nothing to them. A united alien armada might look powerful on paper, but against the black ships, it would be like throwing rocks at a storm. Cairn tried to warn the council. "They will not fight you the way you expect," he said. "They will not meet you in open space unless they know they can win." But his warnings fell on deaf ears. The new united fleet gathered in the Brescian sector. Hundreds of warships filled the dark, their weapons armed, their shields charged. For the first time in years, the galaxy's deadliest forces stood side by side. They sent a message into human-controlled space. It was short and simple. Withdraw from this galaxy or be destroyed. There was no answer. For hours, the fleet waited. Then, slowly, a single black warship appeared on the edge of their scanners. The fleet laughed at first. This was nothing compared to their strength. But then another appeared, and another. Dozens of black ships emerged from the shadows, each one silent, each one armed. The humans did not move closer. They simply sat in the darkness, watching. One Drakkari captain, eager to prove his courage, fired first. The shot never reached its target. The black ship shifted aside, and in a blink returned fire. The Drakkari ship vanished in a burst of light. The United Fleet realized the truth. They were outmatched. Every instinct told them to fight, but every calculation told them they would not win. The humans sent one final message before disappearing. "You prepare for war," the voice said. "We prepare for victory," and then they were gone. The United Fleet broke apart days later, the fragile trust between the factions already crumbling. The humans had not just avoided battle, they had shown the galaxy that even together, its strongest powers were still weaker than them. The galaxy had reached a point of tension it had not felt in decades. The great powers were watching the black human fleet like hunters stalking a predator. But deep down, many leaders were beginning to realize something dangerous. They were not the hunters anymore. They were the prey. In the months after the failed show of force in the Brescian sector, human sightings increased. The black ships no longer stayed. Hidden in the debris fields, they began moving along major trade lanes, not in secret, but in plain view. They escorted convoys, destroyed raiders, and even entered neutral stations to purchase supplies everywhere they went. They left a message without speaking. They belonged here now. The people of the outer colonies started calling them the Shield in the dark. Merchants rerouted their ships through human-patrolled space. Worlds once forgotten by the Alliance began openly asking for human protection, and slowly, almost invisibly, power began to shift. For the first time since the war ended, the Alliance was no longer the center of authority. The humans were. Admiral Cairn watched this transformation with mixed feelings. He respected the humans' discipline and precision, but he also knew their endgame could be far more than protection. He had studied enough history to know empires were not built with battles alone. They were built with loyalty, and humanity was collecting it like a master trader collecting debts. The real turning point came in the Zoroth Belt. It was a lawless region filled with mining colonies, mercenaries, and small warlords for years. It had resisted all attempts by the Alliance to bring it under control, but one day, an entire Zoroth mining fleet went missing. The Alliance suspected pirates, but when scouts arrived, they found something else entirely. In the heart of the belt, anchored to a massive asteroid, was a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was colossal, longer than the largest dreadnought, with a hull layered in scavenged armor. From 100 different warships, its shape was sharp and angular. It's built for intimidation as much as for battle. and on its side was painted the same emblem seen on human uniforms. The clenched fist over a burning star. The mining fleet had not been destroyed. It had been brought here willingly. The crews had defected, offering their ships resources and skills to the humans in exchange for protection. In return, the humans had given them a place in the construction of what could only be called a super dreadnought. When the first blurry images reached the Alliance, panic spread through the High Council. This was not a warship that could be matched with numbers. It was a fortress that could move, and if it was complete, it would make every fleet in the galaxy irrelevant. The Council debated for days. Some argued for immediate attack before construction was finished. Others warned that a failed strike would only cement humanity's dominance. Admiral Cairn listened, then finally spoke. "You think this ship is the danger," he said, "but you're wrong. The danger is that by the time you finish arguing, half the galaxy will already see it as their guardian." He was right, while the politicians hesitated. The humans moved faster. The super dreadnought began its first tests. Firing weapons that could punch through an asteroid in a single shot. Its shields absorbed entire barrages without so much as a flicker, and its engines could outrun even the fastest interceptors. But the most shocking display came when a hostile warlord fleet tried to seize the Zorath Belt before the humans could claim it fully. The super dreadnought moved into position. It did not send warnings. It did not negotiate. In less than 7 minutes, the entire warlord fleet was gone, not defeated, gone. The wreckage was left to drift as a warning to anyone else who might think of challenging them. The news shattered what little unity the alien factions still had. The Drakari began negotiating trade deals with the humans in secret. The Solari priests publicly denounced humanity, but their merchant fleets quietly hired human escorts. The galaxy had reached the point where even those who hated humanity the most were beginning to depend on them. Admiral Cairn knew then that the war was already lost, not a war of ships and weapons, a war of influence. The humans had entered late, avoided the bloodiest battles, then claimed the role of saviors, while quietly becoming the most powerful force in known space. The turning point had come and gone, and the galaxy had not even realized it until it was too late. The day began like any other in the central systems of the Alliance. Merchants filled the trade stations, fleets patrolled their assigned sectors, and politicians argued in grand halls about laws and taxes, but by nightfall, nothing in the galaxy would be the same. It started with a single transmission. Every major power, every neutral world, every pirate haven, and every outer colony received it at the same time. The screen flickered, and the emblem of the clenched fist over the burning star appeared. Then a human voice spoke, calm, steady, and without arrogance. "This galaxy is no longer ruled by chaos," the voice said. "It is protected by those who will not fail." The transmission shifted to live footage, the massive human super dreadnought moving through the void. It was surrounded not just by black human warships, but by alien vessels flying alongside them. Ships from races that had been enemies only months ago now sailed under a single command. The message was clear without being spoken. Humanity was not only strong enough to fight the galaxy, it was strong enough to lead it. Admiral Cairn watched from his private quarters. He had known this was coming, but even he had not expected the scale. The humans had done what no treaty, no peace agreement, no war council had ever achieved. They had united factions through fear, respect, and loyalty all at once. The voice continued, "The Alliance has failed to protect its people, its colonies, and its borders. We have not. From this day forward, every world in need may call upon us, and we will answer. There will be no tribute, number politics, only protection." To the outer colonies, it was salvation. To the core worlds, it was a challenge. To the old warlords, it was a death sentence. The reaction was instant. Messages poured in from desperate governors, traders, mining colonies begging for human assistance. Some sent supplies, others sent crews. Some even pledged their fleets. The humans did not turn anyone away. Every world that joined them was given a place in their new order, an order with humanity at its heart. The Alliance Council met in emergency session. Many demanded immediate military action, but others argued it was already too late. If we strike now, we lose everything. One delegate warned, "Our fleets are not united. Our people do not trust us." And half our commanders would defect to the humans the moment the first shot is fired. Cairn listened in silence. He knew the truth. The war had been decided before this meeting even began. Out in space, the Black Fleet grew larger. Human engineers worked alongside alien mechanics, sharing knowledge and building weapons that combined the best of every species. The super dreadnought was no longer just a ship. It was a symbol. Wherever it appeared, raiders fled, pirates surrendered, and entire planets opened their ports in welcome. For the ordinary people of the galaxy, life began to change quickly. Trade lanes became safe again. Convoys reached their destinations without fear. Mining colonies received protection without having to pay bribes or taxes to corrupt officials, and slowly, the name Alliance faded from daily speech, replaced by a new term whispered with respect: the Pact, the name for the coalition under human leadership. The shift was not without resistance. Some powerful factions refused to join. One such power, the Zarathi Dominion, launched a surprise attack on a packed convoy. Within hours, the human fleet responded. The battle lasted only 11 minutes. When it was over, the Dominion's capital shipyards were reduced to glowing slag. The humans left without occupying the territory. Their message was simple: you may remain outside the pact, but you will never threaten it. From that day, no one dared challenge them directly. The galaxy had seen enough to understand that humans fought differently. They did not conquer for glory. They did not destroy for pleasure. They acted with precision, patience, and purpose. And once they moved, they did not fail. Admiral Cairn, now retired, stood on the observation deck of a neutral station and watched as a human convoy passed by. Dozens of ships from half a dozen species moved in perfect formation. Children waved from station windows as the black warships glided past. Cairn knew the truth: the galaxy would never return to what it was. And perhaps he thought that wasn't a bad thing. The humans had entered a war they never fought. They had taken the wreckage of old battles and built something unstoppable. They had turned fear into trust, and trust into power, and in doing so, they had rewritten the balance of the stars. The war was over. The galaxy was changed. And at the center of it all, humanity watched from the shadows and the light alike, holding the fate of every world in their steady hands.